Welcome to today's Core Essentials class. If you just started your practice this morning or this evening, maybe your back might be a little bit tight or it might be just hard to sit in a seat today. If that's the case, grab yourself a cushion and make yourself more comfortable. And if cross-legged doesn't suit you, bring yourself into Mermaid with the right knee bent and the left knee bent, or bring yourself to kneeling, whatever way that makes you most comfortable to start your practice. From here, first of all, find your seat, ground yourself, bring your tailbone to the mat. Take the jelly away from your glutes and bring yourself up to a nice tall seat. From here, just bring awareness to how you're sitting today. Are you slouched? Are you standing up nice and tall? Have you got a lot of space in your body? Maybe it's just not that way yet, that you haven't got space in your body at this time of the day. If so, find that space. Drop your tailbone, draw the belly button towards the spine, open your front ribs into your back ribs, and just let the shoulder blades go. And just take a deep breath. Breathe in deeply. Inhale deeply. Lengthen through the neck, the shoulders, the belly button, the tailbone. And then pause and let the breath just travel out. With the Pilates breath, it can be pretty overwhelming. So don't overthink it. Just find the breath. Inhale deeply in through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. If your body is a little bit tight, or a little bit anxious, you might find that the ribs might flare a little bit and the breath just might travel into your ribs, and that's fine. Take it step by step, and with every breath you take, try and let the breath travel a little bit deeper into the gut and in towards the tailbone and pelvis. Inhaling and exhaling, finding length and releasing for 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. And the chances are you've probably found yourself about 1 inch taller. Bring both hands onto your shoulders. Release the shoulder blades down your spine. Lengthen the elbows up and around and lower. And what you want to find in this position is that you really want your body to stay quite tense, but find that tension creates stability so that you can work and isolate your shoulders. So try not to let the core move, try not to let the ribs move, and just really work around that shoulder girdle. Inhaling and exhaling as you go around, and then reverse your direction. Good. And don't overthink it. Remember, it's a beginner's class. You're still learning. You're always going to be progressing. So just take it 1 step at a time as you go for 2. And 1 more, and bring the hands back onto the knees. From here, create tension. Press the hands down into the knees, press the tailbone down, and try not to let your arms or anything else move. And from here, breathe in, bring your chin to your chest, lengthen the back of the neck, and then if you want to close the eyes, close the eyes. If you want to keep them open, and look over your left shoulder. Pause, and like a little pendulum, just rolling down, looking over your right shoulder, as if you're gazing over your shoulder with your opposite eye. So as if I just said to you, don't look now, but just guess who walked in, and then you just really subtly look over your shoulder with your right eye and come down. And then we always have those friends who don't look over as subtly as we would hope they would. As you go for 3. 2, are you keeping the tension in your body so you can isolate the neck here? I hope so. And 1, look over your right shoulder with your left eye, and then press down and open the throat. Open, take your time. Good, and breathe. Remember, if you're rushing through this, just question, why am I rushing through it? Where am I going? And instead, focus on going with your breath as you breathe. And enjoy this moment of serenity before we go into the harder stuff. Close the eyes now and really connect. Inhaling and exhaling as we go around. And reverse your direction. Sometimes you're going to hear a little click or a little noise. And that's all normal. Go with it and go with your breath. 2. And on 1, come back to center. Bring your right hand onto the floor. Lift your left arm up And for some of us, our left arm might be still a bit forward. If we can, keep that bicep, that muscle right here, right close to your ear. Reach your arm up and think about that tension I was talking about. Create tension in the torso, in the ribs, in the head, so that when you reach that arm up, you're going to find a little bit more space. Bring your right hand onto the floor. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide. And from here, I want you to go into Mermaid Stretch. Bring your right elbow down to the floor. And instead of just crushing the obliques, I want you to lengthen and come up and over your ribs. Soften your right elbow to the floor. Breathe. Oh, that feels really good. And come back to center. Inhale. And then lengthen that right arm up, 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 up. Bend that left elbow and reach up and over. And inhaling, taking your time, exhaling. As you go through the practice today, you'll be thinking, oh gosh, am I inhaling or am I exhaling? Or maybe I inhaled wrong here. It doesn't matter. It's your first class. You're only really getting used to knowing the breathing ropes. So just take your time, but just don't rush anything. For 3 more. Good. Each time get a little bit deeper with the right elbow as the left arm comes over. And then when you go to the left-hand side, reach that right arm up and over. For the last round, I want you to bring that right hand down. Let the left arm go up and over. And could you take a moment and could you breathe into your left rib here? So find those intercostal muscles, those muscles here. Find a little bit more space. And then maybe just gaze up at your arm. Is your bicep still by your ear? If not, bring it back a little bit more and really rotate your heart towards the ceiling. And breathe into that space. Due to like so many habitual patterns we have nowadays, we don't get a lot of rotation and space in our chest. We can often feel a bit tight around there and in the shoulders. So really use this opportunity to really breathe into those spaces. For 2. And on 1, gently come out of that. Bring your left hand down. Bring your right arm up, 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 up and over. And then really breathe into the space. As if you're pressing your right ribs into the wall beside you. Send that left elbow to the floor. Where is that bicep? Bring it back. Good. Send the heart towards the ceiling. Maybe your neck mightn't like rotating that direction. That's fine. Then just look forward. As you go for 3. And 2. Good stuff. And on 1, come back to center. Bring your right hand forward. Bring your left hand forward. Bring your right arm over your left arm over your right. Plug them in. And then just find a gentle twist. Inhaling, exhaling, twist, finding length, finding space, not overthinking anything, just wondering if your body is in the upright posture that it should be in. And if it's not, realign and readjust for 2. Good. And on 1, release. All right, let's move on to legs. In all my classes, in all my series, all I really, really want to focus on is not just core strength and conditioning, also mobility. Mobility is a really good mixture between flexibility and stability. If you don't mobilize our hips and our joints, we're going to get stuck and we're not going to progress in our practice. So, for our side leg series, bring yourself into a side position. You're going to be supported here. So you're going to bend your right knee. It's going to be bent in line with your hip. Your right heel is long and in line with your knee. And your left leg is long here as well. If you want to, you can bring that left leg forward if it's a bit more comfortable for you. If you want a cushion underneath your elbow, grab a cushion. You have plenty of time. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide. This is really important. Bring your right elbow underneath your shoulder blade. Take a moment here and think, how am I sitting? Is my left hip square to my right? Are my hips shining forward? If you like to have your right hand on the floor and your left hand on your hip, keep them there. If you'd rather have your left hand on your right hand, have it there. Now from here, create length, create space from the ribs all the way to the heels. This is going to start off really slow, and then bit by bit, you're going to be like, Audrey, this is really unpleasant, and that's fine. Go with it. Inhaling and exhaling. And just lifting. Don't go past hip height. There's no need to. Just find that nice, strong tension in the leg, tension in your quad, and breathe. For 3. For 2. And on 1. Let's make one small adjustment. Let's point your big toe up towards the ceiling. And that's going to open that rotation out a little bit more. As you point that big toe up, is the leg leaning back? Make sure it's still pointing forward with the quad, the thigh bone, and lower and lift. Let's go for 8. And 7. Good. 6. Take your time. There's no rush. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay here. point the big toe down. Now you're really encouraging internal rotation, something we don't get a lot of every day, but we really need it in our daily practice. Lowering and lifting. This is all mobility. Mobility is something you need to be doing on a daily basis, and these small movements can make a massive change to your body. As you go, you're like, Audrey, stop talking and keep counting. I am. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay here. Now, visualize the head of your thigh bone is right here, and you want to move that thigh bone and mobilize it. So point the big toe to the ceiling, point it back down, point the big toe to the ceiling, and point it back down. I want you to go for 6 and 5. Is your leg lowering? Try and keep it a bit higher. 5, 4, yes, 3, 2, and 1, and lower and lengthen. And you're like, are we having a break? Not yet, we're almost there. Take that right leg up. Press the right leg down, lift the left leg up. Good. You caught me out there. Bring the left heel forward, pause. How far can you bring that leg forward without bending that knee? Maybe you're here, maybe you're all the way forward. Bring that big toe towards your body, press the heel away, stay here. Are you leaning down? Lift up out of your chest, stay here and hold. Bring that leg back. Bring the leg forward and bring it back. Maybe you could bring the leg forward and then point the toes as you bring it back. And maybe you might be a bit lower than I am today, and that's fine as well. Remember, it's our first class. Take your time. What's happening in the torso? Make sure it's nice and stable. Keep that tension. Let's go for 6. I can really feel it in my glute, in my bum muscles. Let's go for 5, 4, breathe, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Good work. Take that leg, lengthen as much as you can. Keep pressing that right leg down. Keep on pressing that right hip down. Keep lifting out of your ribs. And take this moment to just realign, readjust, and we're going to bring it into CARs, controlled articular rotations. Lift that left leg up. And if you got none of that, that's fine as well. You can either press your heel away or you can point your toe away, one or the other, and just create circles. And I'm not expecting ginormous circles. Make the size of the circle relative to the size of your hip. Make sure your shoulder isn't by your ear. And let's breathe. Let's go for 4 and 3. And remember, when you breathe, you're encouraging the body to open up a bit more. 2, and one, reverse your direction. 8, 7. Remember, my counting isn't always correct. And sometimes I add on a few digits, and that's fine. For 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Good. Bring yourself slowly, slowly, slowly. I can really feel that out of it. And bring yourself over to the other side. Make your transition smooth. And just remember, you're doing the exact same thing on the other side. And you're going to give this side a bit of a break. Left knee bent, left heel on the ground, right leg long, left hand down. Remember, you don't want to be leaning into your ribs here. You want to develop strength in the side body. So keep lifting up through here. And this is going to help you in things like planking and core work. Bring your right hand on top of your left. Relax your right shoulder, or you can have the right hand on the hip. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you this variation with a hand on the hip. Keep the left knee down. Breathe. Inhale and exhaling. Generally, with Pilates, the exhalation is on the effort. And for me, the effort here is to lift the leg. The easy part is the lowering. Taking your time, pressing your heel away. Let's go for 5. I love having my hand here. It really helps me keep my hip in place so I'm not moving too far forward or too far back. And it kind of reminds me to connect to my core as well. For 3, 2, and 1. Come down. Point your big toe up towards the ceiling to really open up that thigh bone and the head of the femur and the hip socket. Good. Remember, don't lean back. All you're doing is adjusting your direction as you go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Is your core still on? 2, and 1. Big toe pressing down and lift. And for some of us, you might be thinking, what does she mean when she says, is your core still on? What I mean is, are you engaging that area around your belly button, and are you bringing your belly button towards the spine just to keep you stable? Let's go for 3, and 2, and 1. Stay here and hold. From here, could you point the big toe up towards the ceiling, and could you bring the big toe down? Big toe comes up towards the ceiling, and roll it down. Let's go for 6, and 5. Or left foot still pressing down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Give yourself a breather. Good. Some of us might really feel that in the glute today. Others might feel it massively in the outside of your thigh. As long as you're feeling it there, that's a good thing. Now from here, breathe. Remember, toes pointing towards your face, heels pressing away, lift. Lift at hip height. Press your heel forward. That might be your edge today, or all the way forward might be where you are. Point your toe, sweep it back. Press forward, point. Good. This one always kills my glutes, so it really gets me around the bum, the thighs. Good. As you go for 4. Sometimes it can feel like it's cramping, and if it's feeling like it's cramping, take a breather, give yourself a little bit of a break, and then come back into it again. As you go for 4, press the left knee down. 3, 2, and 1. Give yourself a moment. Remember, the best is yet to come. Lengthen. You have a choice. You can point your toe or press your heel away, one or the other. Lengthen at hip height. Are you still pressing down? Good. And from here, circles. 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 Good. Get really into the head of the femur, rolling into the hip socket as you go for 3, 2, and 1. Reverse. If you're someone who has tight hips, this is the kind of stuff you need to be doing all the time in your Pilates routine. As you go for 4, as you go for 3, as you go for 2, and as you go for 1. Really lengthen it out, come back to center, realign, and bring yourselves back onto your mat. Okay, we're going to lie down on our mats now. If by any reason you need to have a cushion underneath your head, grab a cushion. Again, there's plenty of time, or you can just press pause. Think about where you are in your lying down position. How are your feet? Are they hip distance apart? A really good way to measure that is heels together, toes apart. Then bring your heels in line with your knees, heels in line with your arches. Good. Now, think about your tailbone. Is it driving down into the ground? Good. The space between your lower back and the mat. I'm never going to tell you, like, push your lower back into the mat. That's just not the way I teach how to connect to your core. Instead, I want you to work on your breath, and then your body will kind of lean into the way you need to connect with your core. Lengthen the back of the neck. If it's uncomfortable, as I said, grab a cushion. Otherwise, take your shoulder blades, pull them down a little bit. Good. And just wriggle the torso a tiny bit, and bring your back of the neck into the back of the skull. Take your thumb onto the lower rib. So your rib cage is here to your lower rib. And bring your baby finger onto your ASIS joint, the 2 bony little parts of your hips that point forward. And if you have to delve a little bit deeper to find them, do that. So then place your thumbs under your ribs and your baby fingers on your ASIS joint. And I want you just to close your eyes. And I want you to breathe. And this might just be the first time today that you've actually just, noticed your breath. And as you breathe, I want you to feel like you have your ribs, and they're expanding as the breath travels into your body. And then they're softening as the breath travels out. It's almost like the ribs are lifting, and they're softening down. And the back ribs are pressing into the mat, and they're softening. And the side ribs are pressing away as if they're pressing into a band. Now, I really want you to close your eyes and really internalize this. Visualize where your thumb is and your fingers are, your baby fingers. And feel like every time you breathe into the ribs, you bring the breath into the gut as well, into the stomach, and the stomach expands. Like they're one unit. And then when the breath leaves the body, the stomach almost draws inwards like a belt, and those fingertips are almost drawing towards one another. Inhale, the stomach expands, the fingertips separate away from one another. And as you exhale, the fingertips almost knit in towards one another as the belly button draws to the spine naturally, causing that nice core contraction. Inhale and exhale. Now, could you feel like your fingertips are spreading apart as you inhale? Knees are in the same position, they're not moving. And exhale, just in case they want to go wide and support you. Breathe in deeply, inhale, fingertips spread out wide. And then exhale, the fingertips draw in towards another. So the rib cage and pelvis is almost drawing towards one another, and that area is contracting a little bit more. Take 4 more breaths, close your eyes, breathe in 1, 2, 3, full expansion. Exhale, draw everything inwards and upwards. Breathe in deeply, expansion, space, opening. And draw everything inwards and upwards as the breath travels out of your body. One more time, a little bit stronger this time. Inhale and exhale. Now let the breath travel inwards and all the way down to your pubic area. Let the breath travel to there. Pause and feel like you're drawing up through that space as you exhale. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Almost like you were going to stop yourself from going to the toilet. Exhale, draw up. Good. Now let's bring the core really into it. Bring your hands behind your head. Everybody interlock your fingertips and cup your skull like you're really guarding it, okay? And it's taking the load into your hands. Good. Have your shoulder blades nice and wide. Spread the shoulder blades nice and wide and open the elbows. Drive your feet into the ground. Imagine like you had an apple, a peach, or a pear between your chin and your chest. Curl up. Inhale down and exhale, lift, squeeze that chin to your chest just very gently. Lengthen the back of the shoulders and take a few moments. Remember, you're exhaling as you lift, inhaling down, exhaling as you lift. And if you're like, oh no, I just exhaled there and I lifted, don't worry, that happens. Just take your time, breathe, and if it helps you to close your eyes and visualize that your hands were at your ribs and your ASIS joint, then do that. Press your feet into the ground. Notice the difference it makes when you drive your heels into the ground. Is that area around the lower ribs pressing down so you're not having too much space underneath you and your lower back? Good. You should be feeling a little bit of a burn now as you go for 4. You're like, Audrey, I felt that burn about a minute ago. As you go for 3. 2. Good. Next one, curl up. Is your head still being held by your hands? I hope so. Can you soften your gaze so you're looking between your knees? And can you imagine like you had a sponge between your knees? And could you very gently slide those ribs down, slide the belly button down, and gently imagine like you're squeezing and squeezing and squeezing that space. Let's go. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Let's go for 4. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2. If you need to take a rest and readjust, do. Otherwise, on 1, take the fingertips to the lower ribs. Encourage them to really flatten down and pulse for 8, 7, 6. That imaginary sponge is still between my knees. You just can't see it. As you go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the right hand behind your head. Left hand down and squeeze and squeeze and stay with it. Yes, you should be feeling that lovely burning sensation in the ribs and abs. That's all good for 3, 2, and 1. Release. Give yourself a moment. Good. Let the elbows spread out. Bring the right leg into tabletop. That right knee is bent. Yeah. And for some of us, I want to bring that right knee all the way into your bodies. Don't. Keep it there at hip height. Stabilize. Now, my left foot is pressing into the ground. And I really want that to really help close that chain a tiny bit by pressing that left foot down. Exhale, curl up. Now, brilliant. We're adding on a little bit here. As you tap down with the right foot, imagine that you're moving from your thigh. Good. Tap down. And what you'll see a lot in my special I'm in studio classes is that people will start kind of lengthening the leg out. I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep that connection between your knee and your calf and your hamstring, the back of the leg, and squeeze and tap. Good. Let's go for 6. Tap. 5. Keep that bent knee all the time. The temptation is there to loosen out. Don't do that. 3. Breathing. 2. And 1. Right foot presses down. Take a breather. Inhale. Exhale. Remember, slide those ribs down towards your pelvis. Shoulders wide. Lift the left foot up. Right foot pressing down. Inhale down. Exhale to lift. Inhale down. And exhale to lift. Watch that right knee. Is it coming in? Are the abs still connected? These are all the things. Don't overthink it, but just look out for them. As you go for 2. As you go for 1, release. Maybe the right leg could march up. Tap it down. Lift. Remember, week by week, we'll be adding on. Week 3, week 4, maybe both legs will be in the air. We'll see how we go. As you go for 3. 2. And on 1, release. Nice. You've got your oblique muscles. These are muscles at the side of your waistline. They're your postural muscles. They really help you to stand taller. They help you to really work through your side body. And also, they just look really good when they're toned as well. So take your left hand behind your head. Take your right hand and free it out. As you free out your right hand, remember what I was talking about earlier? Tension. Create tension in your arms. Send that arm behind you. And for some of us, it mightn't come all the way back, and that's fine. It might just go a couple of inches, or maybe it might come halfway. That could be enough for you today. Otherwise, reach that right hand up and glide it back down. But make sure there's tension in your body so that you can just mobilize that arm for 3, 2, now on 1. I'm going to keep my hand in that fist. It just reminds me to keep tension in my body, and I like that. From here, breathe in deeply. Inhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Bring your right arm up. It's coming forward, and then it's coming across your body out to the outside of the left knee, and then you're coming back up and around. For some of us, it might be easy to keep our gaze on that arm and follow it around. For others, that'll just take time, and that's fine as well. Good. As you come across for 5. As you go for 4. Lovely. 3. Good. You're like, this is so hard, Audrey. I know. Stop shouting at me. 2 more. Good. And on 1 more. Keep the right foot down. Keep the left foot down. And reach. Open up the hand and reach. And reach. Is your belly button still driving down? Are you isolating your ribs? Is your right rib traveling over your left rib? I hope so. Good. For 3, 2, and on 1. And you're like, are we done? No, we're not. We have to do the other side. Take your right hand behind your head. Lengthen your left arm. Remember, even though you're doing things like mobility work through the shoulders by just reaching your arm to the side and up, it mightn't seem that interesting. But this is the kind of stuff you have to do every day to avoid injury in the shoulders and in the rotator cuff, so you can really do the good stuff every day. Lengthen that arm, create the tension in the fist, in the thumb, and from here, breathe in deeply. Inhale, bring that arm back to where it was. Think about your left arm reaching up as the head, neck, and shoulders lift, and that comes across your body. Rotate. Inhaling, and exhale, lift, 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 and twist. You know when you do movements like this that you're really going to feel it the next day, but in a really good way. It's like your body's way of just thanking you for showing up on the mat. Good. I'm very conscious that I must keep on looking at the direction I'm going in, so the whole body stays connected. Let's go for 4. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2. And on 1, stay here. Maybe you could open out that right elbow a tiny bit more. Spread out your fingertips and reach. And reach. And reach. The reach is coming from the left rib and the left shoulder. Let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Take a well-deserved breath. Take your knees together. Take your feet together. Spread your hands out nice and wide. And bring both knees over to the right-hand side. Square the hips. As I said, as the weeks go on, we were going to be progressing our twisting. Keep those knees together. Left knee on top of right. Stack it. Back to center. And both knees over to the left-hand side. Good. I heard a little click there. That's totally normal. And twist. Good. And I know you're like, I could stay here forever. We could stay here forever, but we have 1 more series to do, which is our upper body core. So from here, take 2 more breaths. Good. And 1 more breath. And then bring both knees to the right-hand side. Take your left hand onto the mat and bring yourself onto your hands and knees. If you're new to Pilates, a lot of people don't love upper body strengthening. But once you get used to it, you learn to really love it. So bring your fingertips onto the mat. Yeah. Have your knees in line with your hips. And just, if you have a mirror beside you or a window, double check that your knees are definitely in line with your hips. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide. Good. And with the fingertips spreading out nice and wide, be strong in your stance. Let your elbows roll in. Yeah, so by that I mean the pointy part of your elbow just rolls in. Good. And my arms are, even though they're on the ground, my hands are on the ground, I'm pressing the ground away from me. Yeah. And my toes are not tucked under. And we're going to go into cat-cow, which is a really nice way to mobilize your spine. I want you to send your tailbone away from the crown of the head. I want you to open up the heart and open up the breastbone and roll the shoulder blades back. And then from here, I want you to draw the tailbone under, draw the front ribs into the back ribs, spread your shoulder blades apart, keep pressing the ground away from you, and lengthen, 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 lengthen. Remember, if you've gone to yoga class, you'd often have inhaled as you lengthened, but we're in Pilates, and in Pilates and yoga, we do different moves for different reasons. So when you're doing your cat-cow in Pilates, you inhale as you round, and then you exhale. Really take your time. Inhaling, tailbone, stomach into shoulders, ribs back. Inhaling, and then exhaling to open. Let's go for 4 more of these with our eyes closed, if that's okay. Listening to your breath. Before I lull you into a false sense of serenity, we're going to move into lengthening one more time. Good. And then from here, tuck the toes under. See if your core is on. Draw your front ribs into your back ribs. As always, lift your knees. Press the hands into the ground. Tuck the toes under and hold for 5. Is your belly button drawing to the spine? 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Breathe, realign, readjust, have a little wiggle. Maybe bring both hips to the right, to the left, forward and back. Warm up those wrists. Right, left, forward and back. Reverse your direction. 4. Good. 3, 2 and 1. One more time. Breathe in. Inhale, elbows in, lift. 5. Core on. 4. Keep your core on. Keep those shoulders over the arms. 3, 2, 1, and release. Press your right hand into the floor. As I press my right hand into the floor, I'm really trying to lengthen my left arm away from me. Reach the left arm away long. From here, can you walk the right foot away? Can you roll the thigh bone in on the right hand side? Can you give the leg on the right hand side permission to lift? Good. I'm going to keep my left hand pointing forward, but just for demonstration purposes, are you going to keep those abs in? Are you going to keep those shoulders forward? Is your gaze looking away and down for 5? Keep on reaching. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that in. Breathe. Shoulders. Lengthen. Lengthen the left leg away. Lengthen the right leg away. Reach that arm away. Draw that elbow in. Reach, and breathe. For 4. 3, 2, make sure those abs are on. I lost my own arm there. And on 1, release. Come back to center. Breathe in deeply. Draw the elbows in. Stabilize. Last time. Bring that right leg long behind you. Lengthen the left arm. Reach, core on. Lift. Elbow in. Watch the back of the neck. Is it gazing down? Can you bring the right leg wide? Can you bring the left arm wide? Draw it into center. Think about all the mobility we did at the start of class. Now it's coming back. Let's go for 5, 4. We're almost there. This is the hardest part of the class today. 3, or maybe it's not. Maybe the leg series was for you. 2 and 1. Bring the left hand down. Realign. Left leg first this time. A little bit harder. Right arm wide and in. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hands onto the ground. Lift your knees. Walk. You can bend the knees here, of course. Walk the hands in. Stabilize. Bend the bent knee. Lengthen yourself up to stand. Take a moment. Readjust. Realign. How are you feeling? Are you feeling taller? Are you feeling longer than you did at the start of class? Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Lift. Bring your chin to your chest. Soften your knees, everybody. Whether you're beginners or intermediate, you always have to soften the knees a little. Like you're coming over a hedge, walk the arms forward, 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 forward. Drop the knees or keep them lifted. Pause. Walk the hips up one more time, or last time. Walk the hands in. Soften those knees. My tailbone drops. My core engages. We're really used to engaging our core here. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Reach, reach, reach. Find your height. And from here, chin to chest. Come up and over that hedge. Really give the head permission to let itself go. Bring the arms forward. Good. Option here. Drop the knees or keep them lifted. But really bring the left elbow down. Bring the right elbow down. This is our finisher. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide. Your knees can be down. Remember, that's fine. That's your first class. Or keep them lifted. If you're doing this class again, definitely bring the knees into a heightened position. Pull the elbows into the ground. Lengthen the neck. Lift your thighs. Squeeze the thighs together and stay here for 10, 9, or you can drop the knees and lift them. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, slowest counting ever, 2, and 1. Release into child's pose. Spread the arms wide. Open the hands. Knees are wide. Feet can be close together or a little bit apart. Surrender the forehead to the floor. And take 4 mindful breaths. And 1. Bring yourself back. If you don't like sitting in this position, find a position that suits you for your closing of this practice. Take your right hand onto your heart. Take your left hand onto your gut. And just like you did when you were lying down earlier today, connect with your breath. Breathe into your heart and lungs and into your gut. Pause and gently exhale. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 6 more times. Thoughts will come and go. Let them come in. And then just send them on their way. And bring your attention inward. For 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Blinking open the eyes. Okay, you made it. You got through your first beginners core connection class. I hope you enjoyed the practice and looking forward to progressing with you on our next class. Have a great day. Hi everyone, my name is Audrey. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you enjoyed that video, you can check us out every Tuesday and Thursday on our CoreStateHQ YouTube channel. Just click subscribe, and if there's any exercises or any moves you want to learn, let us know in the comments. If you really enjoyed this video and you'd like to do more, you can also check us out on www.CoreStateHQ.com, and I'll see you soon on the mat.